Sims Medieval came out probably about 3 weeks ago, I still cannot get enough of it. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and to give you a little bit of background, I'm a huge Sims fan. I've played every type of Sim game, every version, every expansion since the very first game, and yes, it even includes My Sims. And so, of course, when Sims Medieval was announced, I was super excited, because here it was a Sim game, but unlike any of the past Sims games we've already played, plus it was like promised us to be more medieval, and I don't know, it just seemed like something I'd really be into. So, of course, I got it, and I'm absolutely loving it. I'm going to tell you why I absolutely love it. Sims Medieval takes everything we liked from The Sims and kept it, but tweaked it yet again. Now, if you're expecting Sims Medieval to be anything like Sims 3, you're completely off. Sims Medieval is really, honestly, not like anything I've already played. Maybe it's a little bit like My Sims because it is very mission-based or quest-based, but it's not like any of the Sims games you're used to. You can still make your own sim, you can still build things and furnish things and everything, but it really is a lot more adventure-based than sim-based. So the game is basically an action-adventure sim game, but it's not a game kind of like The Sims where you play your sim and it's ongoing. It never stops. Sim Medieval does have an end, and when you start your game, you choose almost like a winning condition. I don't know if you've ever played Civilization. When you play Civilization, you choose a condition on what is going to make you actually win the game. And you do the same with Sims Medieval, like have 4 Sims that have X amount of money, or complete 8 buildings in the kingdom under a certain amount of time, and so forth. So you pick your winning condition, and everything is all quest-based. And each quest can be completed differently and can be completed by different Sims. And by completing each mission or quest, you get these quest points. And the quest points allow you to unlock and build different buildings, like the barracks, or the marketplace, or the spy headquarters, the wizard's tower. Now, each of the main buildings come with a hero sim. Hero sim is a sim that you can either use one of the pre-made ones, or you can make and name your own, pick its traits and its fatal flaw. Now, its traits are like the same ones you're used to in the Sims games, where friendly, likes children, sense of humor and that kind of stuff. But not the evil trait, the fatal flaw is actually new to the Sim games. And these are things that are going to pose a challenge while you play the game. My favorite's probably the drunkard one, so any of my Sims that have the drunkard trait or fatal flaw, they'll constantly need a drink, or their mood will go down. Now, like in past games, you don't have to make sure your Sim uses the bathroom or takes a shower. The only 2 of those meters you're going to have to pay attention to are their sleep and their food. But other than that, that's it. The other things you'll need to pay attention to is their moodlets will affect their mood. And getting moodlets is like when they eat a full meal, they'll get a moodlet, which will make them happy. Or if they get a full night's rest, they'll get a moodlet of sleeping well. But then when they're tired, they'll get a negative moodlet that affects their mood negatively, and so forth. So you get to do all of that, and then the more of these main buildings you have, and the more of the hero Sims, the different ways you get to complete missions. Like maybe the knight will want to complete a mission more violently, and the spy will want to complete the mission a little bit more stealth, and so forth. So you can do positive ways of finishing missions, and each way of finishing a mission, or how you do each mission, will affect the rest of your kingdom. Like in past Sim games, there's tons of things to do, and there's even tons of evil things to do, fun ways of humiliating or killing other Sims. You can put them in the stocks, which are those things they put their head and their hands in. You can throw tomatoes or eggs at them and completely embarrass them that way. Or you can send them to the pit, which has this gross, monster in it, and the monster, they will battle the monster, and some Sims can make it out alive, but other times the Grim Reaper comes and picks them up. You can duel them to the death. There's just so many different things you can do, and so many different ways you can play the game, even in one playthrough. Because when you have, I think you can get maybe, I'm going to say 8 or 12, I think there's probably more than that, different hero Sims. And each of those Sims can be completely different. Your spy can just be completely just evil, and your monarch can be sweet and innocent. And so every time you decide to complete a mission and you play that main hero Sim, you can play it completely different. So it's really just endless amounts of things to do, but I really like that it's a more focused game. Where past sim games are as open world as it can get. Do whatever you want. You know, here's a few goals you can try to get. But Sims Medieval is much, much more focused. Yet, it still gives you the ability to basically do anything you want and really rule this kingdom. I would recommend Sims Medieval really to just about anybody. I'd recommend it to the people that love past sim games, because this game definitely has everything you loved from the past sim games. I'd also recommend it, though, to players who weren't a fan of the Sims games, because it's enough not like the past sim games, and they add enough for it really to be a completely new take on the series. And I think there's enough things about it that keep it more of an action-adventure game, and even types of RPG games, because each hero sim does level up, that it will attract gamers that aren't into the sim games. I think it'll attract gamers that want an action-adventure game, and even attract the gamers that want a little bit more strategy. Because really, there are so many different ways to complete each quest, and so many different ways to play the game, that it really opens itself up to many, many different people. One of my favorite things about sim games are just the amount of random things that can happen, and it makes everybody's experience with the Sims differently. And everybody has their story of something that happened to their sim, or to a friend's sim. Mine so far in Medieval was definitely, I was playing at the time my knight sim, who was married to my monarch sim. And so I had my knight sim and my monarch sim. You know, they did what husbands and wives do. I definitely had them woohooing a bit. And my monarch sim got pregnant. And the funny thing is, as soon as my monarch sim found out she was pregnant, she hit the bar. I mean, she just started knocking back drinks. And that definitely had me giggling a little bit. So guys, if you've played Sims Medieval, I want to hear your stories. What are some of the funny or silly little things your Sims have done? And I want to know what you think about it. Are you liking it so far? And what are your favorite things about the game? As always, guys, thanks for watching. I love ya, and have a good one.